Those of you who are world builders, we know you've got plenty of stories to tell. Whether it be fantasy, sci-fi, grimdark horror, or woodland creatures, it's hard not to want to make your own setting after playing enough D&D. So today, we're asking you about your homebrew worlds. Tell us about them in the comments below. Welcome to Noir and Enor. The elves were the first to be created and were done so in the image of the gods. They named the world and gave it life. Next up were the dwarves, who craft weapons of heroes and gods. Then, the humans. They're the innovators, the creators, and destroyers. The orcs are simply misunderstood, and the dragonborn are few and far between. The world is rebuilding from an interplanetary war from 500 years prior. From the frigid wastes of the Eslorian north to the Aurum desert of Aesir, and the secluded forest of the Vale. The world is thriving, and it's your time to make your mark. Arenstar. To the east, the coastline runs from north to south, with ports bringing trade and travelers in and shipping goods out. Here, the beaches give way to the rolling dunes of the eastern desert, wherein lie two great cities, one ruled by Dragonborn and borne atop a great dragon tortoise, and the other balanced precariously upon a great slab, which endlessly tilts in the ever-changing dunes, like a buoy on the slowest of waves. The buildings built upon stilts adjusted each morning to bring them level. The desert sweeps into the great sunken circular salt plains of Arenstar, through which the tears of Ulbanar flow, a sprawling system of salty rivers which have carved deep chasms in the salt. To the south of the salt plains lies a great forest, at the center of which is the Wooden Mountain, a giant, twisted symbiosis of colossal trees. This is where the Nkachaka, a race of sapient woodlice 3 to 5 feet tall, mine the precious ambers and resins from its depths. To the north of the salt plains lie the mountains in which stand the halls of the Ormnir, the stronghold of the dwarves. To the west is forbidding moorland, untamed, unsettled, but with one good road to pass through it. And at the western edge of the salt plains stands the Tower, the single largest construction in the known world. The tower's base stands several miles across, and the top of it has never been seen, for its upper reaches are eternally swaddled in clouds. About the base of the tower is the Great Market, an ever-changing maze of pickpockets and swindlers selling unmissable deals for remarkable prices, like Gwyneth Paltrow. The tower is a strange and magical construction, so old as to be timeless, and it is said to stand in every plane of existence, like a pin pushed through a folded map. The tower extends as far as anyone has ever attempted to travel, both above and below the ground. A man could spend a lifetime there and never run short of things to find. The upper reaches are only safely accessed by airship, for the ancient labyrinth on the 7th floor keeps all but the foolish from climbing further. Each floor bears the designs of those who built it as well, for whoever holds the tower must continue to build it. Such is the cost of power. Entire civilizations live on each floor. Orcs, dwarves, giants, and even dragons. Aoris, home of the brave new world setting. You're a farmer's boy, and it's your first time in the big city. Yelling can be heard in the saloon as a gnome walks out in a daze. Zeppelins float above, advertising this and that, and before you know it, he's pulled into an alleyway, confronted by a bugbear. "Your money or your life," says the goblinoid, holding a blackjack. As he stammers, he hears a shot ring out. The bugbear drops to the ground as he sees the smoking barrel of a poncho-clad elf. "First time in the city?" The boy nods no shakily. "Watch your step, partner. Never know what's around the corner." The elf walks away, disappearing into the bustling crowd. Sauta, at first glance, is an idyllic land. Its geography comprises rolling hills and valleys, vineyards and olive groves, mountains, beaches, and lush, verdant plains. Its towns and cities are places of great learning and patronage of all manner of the arts, and its plentiful natural resources, shrewdly managed, have made its people wealthy. Its currency is used as a standard in many other lands, and its influence has spread far and wide, bringing travelers in their hordes to visit its beautiful cities. Yet constantly bubbling under the surface is the threat of turmoil. As is only natural in a land with such potential, its resources are fiercely protected and jealously guarded. The citizens' pride in their city-states frequently spills over into rivalry and armed conflict. Various religious orders contend with each other for supremacy, and there are rumors of dark practices and unholy attempts to subvert the natural order of the world. Come for the beauty of nature, all the pleasures of the senses, and the creativity of humanity. But venture off the beaten track, and you might find yourself squaring off against the nefarious Count Guido, the chilling undead army of Bahalanan, the secretive marble giants in their wondrous underground caves, or the controlling and corrupting power of Alavanaros, the false prophet. Kalia. After the murder of the other gods at the hands of a lesser sun god assisted by 4 mortal wizards, the world was thrown out of balance. The sun scorched the earth, evaporating the oceans and converting the once diverse planet into a single, spanning continent of sand and dust. Magic was rare. Its god burnt to a crisp. After only a few hundred years, society has started to rebuild. The races populating the continent adapted to the intense heat and dangerous creatures that roam the wasteland. The southern region is characterized by its tall forests of large cacti, growing to create stable ecosystems for the creatures that inhabit it. Vulture-like dragons soar the skies, some tamed by the nomadic elves that roam the plains in the east. In the north spans a once-deep ocean, now reduced to a deep canyon, populated with thick-haired dwarves. Humans took to the west, developing archaic guns used to defend against the predators hidden in the sand. Below the surface, however, lies an oasis of water, the cavern races surviving off of its resources. Creatures in the lower caves tend to glow and blend in with the gray rocks that litter the floors. They hide the water from the surface, jealously guarding it from outsiders. Long ago, there was a land called Noir that was devastated by an ancient catastrophe which plunged all civilization into ruin. Nobody knows what exactly caused it, but no matter if it was war, natural disaster, or perhaps divine punishment, the world was broken, its people left to pick up the pieces. Now, many hundred years later, fledgling societies have reformed, carried by technology, faith, or plain old conviction. The world has carried on. But amidst the wilderness, the lawless and dangerous still roam. Beasts of all kinds is still a terror to the roaming traveler, and beneath the ground, ancient machinations still rest, undisturbed, teeming with invaluable technology and magic, and dangerous to not only the prospective adventurer, but potentially to all those living in nowhere. Out there, you can only trust the gun at your hip and the sharpness of your wit as you navigate between sheriffs and outlaws, shootouts in grimy saloons, and the aspirations of newly formed states and would-be rulers. Welcome to Nowhere, partner. Encelon. This continent, once forgotten, has recently been rediscovered. Tales of spoils hidden deep within the interior float on everyone's lips, synonymous with this new land. There aren't any civilized people that claim this region yet. A rumor of ancient elves live just off the coast, but no worries. Every ship that comes back has said the same thing for certain. Elves are no trouble, they keep to their little island. It's up to you, if you wish to take up this adventure, to explore this new land and make a name for yourself. You are to meet at the Wailing Lily. The ship is set to depart in 1-2 day. To expand and keep it short, the land was once a thriving metropolis, but the Council of Three grew a greed that hungered for more of everything. You know, wealth, food, land. men and women, one was a lady, and this ended up spreading from the higher leadership down to simple farmers. This got to a point where the gods they worshipped saw these people and cursed them with an undying greed. The continent erupted into war and the continent was ravaged. A group of mostly elves fled to a nearby island chain and began to rebuild. The people left on the continent were forever changed, however. They became bestial in nature, and after the continent was pillaged and burned, a select few druids began to oversee the reformation of nature's reign over the land. Thousands of years pass until the continent is eventually rediscovered by the outside world. This campaign follows a party exploring the continent and seeing it become populated, fighting versus nature, and man versus man over control of certain areas, until they discover that the land was once inhabited long ago and eventually realize that the land is cursed, and they can see the signs of that curse infecting the first people that landed here. So they begin a countdown before they too succumb to this curse of avarice. The Kingdom of Balderth. This is a kingdom to a relatively new king. The land of 9 cities, really 8 towns and the one central city of Balderth, is the shining jewel of the continent. Infrastructure, roads intertwining all the towns and even a number of villages. Rather secure borders from the east with the mountains that snake down the center of the continent, to the south a great river with few natural crossings. The kingdom has a large bay encompassing its northwest, open to the oceans of the great beyond. Further south, there are roving hordes of orc, more peaceful these days, however, but they will still skirmish for food if it comes down to it. Past the plains lies the last founding forest land. This is the place where the initial elven empires arose from. Many in Balderth tell legends of elves that still live there, but none really know. To the east of the spine of Licora, which is the continent's name, is mostly relatively unknown. The guards posted in the mountains have seen goblins scurry about, and there was once a war between goblins maybe hundreds of years ago or so. This is the basic setting of Balderth. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below. How would you describe your homebrew world? Tell us a little bit about it. Hell, share us a picture and I'm sure we'll put it up there in the video too. We love you all. See you next time. Toodaloo for now.